Hello, and welcome to this episode of Freebirding Freedmans. I'm Lynn Freedman, and I'm here with my co-host Joel Freedman, aka my husband. And we have a special guest today, Nancy Paiva. She is the first fellow Mustang from my high school to be on the show with us. And Nancy, we're so happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
So we have a lot of content to cover. And one of the most exciting things for me as a ongoing photographer who's trying to figure out how to make a profit with it is that you have had a long, successful career in one space, and then now you have moved into another space. And so I want you to kind of talk a little bit about your longer career and how you started your current photography journey. And then I know Joel will have some sports related questions for you too, since you cover the Cal
My
Bears.
favorite subject, yes. Well, I started my career with City and County of San Francisco. I went in, I was a meter maid for a while, and then I jumped over to be a 911 dispatcher, I did about 10 years as a parking control officer is the proper way to say it. And then I was a 911 dispatcher. And that was how I retired from there 22 years after that. So 32 years total with the city. And during that time, I had started photography before, and I'm happy to say that's my second career.
And during the 911 years, you
Yeah.
you and I were kind of more connected on Facebook, probably starting while you were doing a little bit of everything, really.
Yeah.
And that sounded like some pretty intense work. Do you want to explain a little bit about like what you were saying yesterday, how many screens and
Oh,
computers and
yeah.
all that?
I don't think people realize how physically demanding that is. You're sitting most of your day, but you have about 9 computer screens, 3 keyboards, and about 5 mouses. And the phone calls or the radio traffic is literally nonstop. And in San Francisco, they do police, fire, and medical. So you're doing all three agencies. So you never are still. You are constantly reaching, looking, turning, and it's physically demanding. And it can wear on you emotionally between the calls and the stress of no sleep. You're working nights, weekends, holidays, time away from your family. It can take a lot on you.
So on top of that, you were a single mom and you noticed that there was a need for photography with the football team, right?
Right. My son was in his senior year and he was playing football and there was nobody doing action shots. And I thought, well, it's his last year and I want those pictures. So I've always been involved in photography and had just recently bought a camera. And I told him, I go, well, I'll try it if you want to get me on the field. So his coach told me I could come on the field, and I kept going out there game after game. And I started renting lenses and trying to figure out how to, because it's hard. High schools are hard with the bad lighting anyway. So you're trying to learn in
Yep.
not the best conditions. And so I would go to Looking Glass Photo in Berkeley, and they would help me and give me ideas and tell me what lens to rent. And then I friended people, and they would tell me what to do. And so that's just kind of trial and error. And it was like the last 2 games, I think I finally got it. and so, and then I was
It's definitely
hooked.
not as easy as it looks.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that there's probably a big challenge between it being looking for, trying to work through the equipment and get comfortable with it, and then also understanding where in the game and it's almost like
Right.
what they say in hockey, you want to be where the puck's going to be
Yeah.
and be able to predict where there's going to be that
Yeah.
outstanding
And
opportunity.
then yeah, years later, you move on, and they're like, "Well, it's not a picture if you don't have a face and a ball." And you're like, "Well, how do you get that?" Like, I just wanted to get a non-blurry picture.
That's a good first step with all that
Yeah,
action for sure.
yeah,
Um, and then you moved on to a friend suggesting that you kind of take it to the next level, right? Or pushing
yeah.
you almost to the point where you just did it to stop hearing it.
Yes, there was a Craigslist ad. That's how far back this goes. A Craigslist ad for a photographer for a football team, and I assumed it was a youth football team. And every time I got to work, she kept asking me, "Did you apply? Did you apply?" And so I only applied just so I could tell her I applied, because I'm like, I've only done one football season and not very well. So they did not choose me, but they chose someone else and said, but keep coming out if you want. And I thought, well, this is my learning opportunity. And I learned just keep saying yes, just keep trying and doing, and things just start unfolding. And I got better and better. And by the end of the season, they were going to the championship team. Oh, and I should have mentioned this was a semi pro team, not a
And
youth
not youth
football
football.
team. No. So it's big guys and older guys. And so they were great and invited me to go to Vegas for their championship game, asked me to be their team photographer. And I was with them for the following 8 years till they disbanded.
And how did that help you through some of the other personal struggles that you were going through at the time? I know your
Oh,
son did a big sacrifice for our country, so you can take it from there.
yeah, I was, yeah, he signed in July. He was going to Laney College and they were great. They were setting him up to transfer to other schools and he was supposed to play football for them, was going to practice. And it was like 4th of July weekend. He said, Mom, I need to talk to you. And I'm going to join the Army. So that was never on my bingo card. And so he took off to join the Army, and the team sort of stepped in as a bunch of substitute kids for me.
Mhm.
It was just great to be there every week with them when your son is so far away.
And how long was he abroad or uh, on
He
assignment? Deployed.
deployed
Sorry.
he
Yes.
deployed fairly soon, and his deployment was, I think it was 6 months, but then he was stationed in Fort Drum, New York, and so he was always off on these training missions. So the time to see him was very limited, and so yeah, that it was great having all those kids to be with and stay busy. I stayed over busy, and that was the other thing I was really trying to get the photography thing down. And I was after work, after doing a 12-hour day, you would run home and hit a basketball game or a football game, just trying to learn more and more.
And was your daughter still in high school at that point, or?
She was, and she was at that social age where she wasn't home a lot either. She played volleyball and
Yeah.
had her friends. So I didn't want to be home alone. So you
Yeah.
stay
Too
busy.
much time to think. So you
Yeah,
never let your mind or your craft idle, really. You kept yourself really busy. Do you think almost
yeah.
too busy or?
Definitely too busy. I
Yeah.
I realized when he came home that I was just on autopilot. I was just trying to survive.
Okay, let's jump forward a little bit to where, Joel's current interest in what you do now is super high because
Well, because we mentioned the California Golden Bears, and
Okay,
so
go Bears.
I think I was introduced to you through your photos, actually long before I met you in person. Um, so really interested. Obviously, you do some brilliant work.
Thank
I
you.
love the pictures that you get from the Golden Bears. Interested in any stories on how you got it, B, any really interesting things that have happened that you can talk about, sort of interacting with the team. And then have you ever been in fear of a tackle or
Oh my
a
God.
hazard on site as a result of some of the work that you're doing?
I have had some very close calls. And I always think if I'm gonna get hit, just let me get the shot. I'm not gonna stop shooting. But yeah, that I work really hard to keep my head on a swivel, and you never turn your head when the ball's in play, especially. But yeah, I find that in photography, really networking is the most important thing. And I had gone to a sports workshop and met up with a group of ladies, and one of them did the water polo for Cal. And she said, sometimes they need people for football, put your name in. And I got a call for like the last game of the season. And so I went, and it was just so great to be on a college football field. And that was one of the regrets. I wish I had taken my kids to more college games because they're just fabulous. You keep going to NFL games, but go where the bands are and the cheerleaders and all that energy. It's just great to be there.
love
So,
the
and
college
I was,
football environment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I was asked to come back the following year. And so, mostly for Cal, though, it's other teams will hire me that are coming from, Oregon will come, and like a news agency will hire me to, to work for them. So it's not always for Cal when I'm at Cal. And there's also other less exciting things like taking pictures of the sponsor signs, or, there's so many different avenues in photography that you don't really consider.
And you're not volunteering anymore. You're under contracts. They're asking you to go to the big games, the
I,
finals, the
I still do both. I still do both. I'll go
still
out
both.
there, you call it spec work, where they'll buy some of your images, or other teams will hire you, at the last minute because you've got the credentials to be there. So it just depends on, some games you're hired for and some games you're not. And then, yeah, but for like certain bowl games, I'm hired for that.
Yeah, no, that's great. It looks like you sometimes have to choose. You're almost like some of the top colleges out there having to pick which of the bowl games that you'll go to. And it sounds like you've actually done sugar bowls on a few occasions. So
I have.
interested to hear a little bit about how that experience, and New Orleans in general being a little bit of a crazy atmosphere, but what that's been
Yeah,
like.
on New Year's Eve, you're
Oh
there
my
the
gosh.
days before New Year's Eve, and the game is on New Year's Day. And it's a fascinating city. It's beautiful. The food is amazing, and they take such good care of the media at that bowl game. Definitely my favorite event to do.
It must be fun to go in the special entrances and having that like
It
bird's
really
eye.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing better than going out through that tunnel onto the field, and you see everything, the big scoreboards and the music, and then to be out there with the players is pretty amazing.
And we're sometimes when we go to the Cal games, I'm out there looking for you, like more than the game. Like, where's Nancy? I think we've spotted you far enough to wave and text, and that's about it. But it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to know you and know that you're down
Oh,
there. Not everybody can just be on those sidelines, right there with athletes that everybody is so excited about, especially when it comes to
yeah.
Cal, you.
Exactly. And then
Our boy,
I'd imagine now that you're so busy that you probably have to turn some work away. Like, do you have a reference set of people who you work with if you can't do a project that you're like, hey, I know a photographer down in San Diego who might be really good to cover that event.
yeah, that's what I said. The best part of the whole networking thing. If someone can't do it, you'll get a job they can't do. And if there's something you can't do, you can, recommend someone. So it's a nice community to be in.
So if someone's listening now who's sort of in that slump when their kids are, off doing whatever they choose to do after high school, and whether they want to be a photographer or start any kind of business. I know we have some classmates that have started other businesses later in life that have been really successful, but say they haven't taken any steps yet and they're scared or whatever. Do you have any advice for them as to why this was not a short process for you, but it sounds like rewarding um, and now it's paying you as well. So do you have any advice for people like that who might not know how to take the first step in whatever they're interested in?
Yeah, I think it's never too late. It's never too late to do something that you've been passionate about, or, thought, oh, maybe I would like to try that, or, that's always just been a dream of mine to do. You should do it, because it's never too late. And I think, start small, and, for whatever interests you, and just keep doing it, and figure out how to make it work. I mean, if it's like it depends on the field, of course.
Right.
We can't just go be a lawyer without going to school, and but I mean, if that's your passion, I think you should do it.
And then do you have any, we can insert pictures after, but do you have anything nearby you just would want to hold up for a moment before we move into some of the other aspects of your life?
Well, I don't know if this will show, but so this was kind of the funny thing, for me anyway. Um, my son, because when you're a mom in high school, you're just, I'm Austin's mom. Nobody knows who my last name is, or what I do. And all of a sudden the kids started putting pictures that I took, and it would be like on all of their um, cover, profile pictures and cover pictures. And that was like the most flattering thing. So there was a boy at my daughter's softball awards ceremony, and we were talking, and he said he played football, and I said, oh, you do? And he's like, yeah. And I saw his phone, and I go, oh, you have my picture? He goes, that's you? And I go, yeah. And he goes, oh my god, that's like my favorite picture. So it was like the whole team like had like this picture. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah, that looks great.
So that was kind of a flattering thing. And there was like a dad one time, he had asked me to take pictures. I took pictures, and I said, so I called him and I said, this is, at my time, my name was Nancy Porfirio. And I said, it's Nancy Porfirio, but everybody always called me Mama Brills, the kids, which is my kid's last name. And so he said, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. I only work with Mrs. Brills. I had to say, oh, well, that's me. So it's kind of fun, like your little celebrity moments you get while you can get them. Like, I don't know, like I kind of like the pictures where you're kind of capturing emotions on a field.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
Um, like this is just like some little random ones that I had printed up for a talk I gave at a high school. The Giants hired me for Fan Fest and wanted me to get like stadium shots.
Ooh. Oh, I love that angle.
And so that was always fun. And it was cool because they told you exactly what seat to go stand at. This is the shot we want at this time of day. Of course, it was raining that day.
Oh no.
But I don't know. I tend to get a little too close sometimes, but
Oh, I like that one. And then
yeah.
I want to show that one where you have that it's not a sports photo, but that you had up on Facebook recently. It's probably on your
Oh,
Instagram too, right?
yeah.
Did you post it
Yeah,
on your Instagram?
I
Okay.
did.
Okay. So let's just tell everybody what your Instagram is real quick in case they want to take a
It
look at it.
Paiva Images, Paiva Images, one word on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
that's
there's
a got
some cool examples there as well.
yeah, thank
And
you.
then tell us a little bit about a photography new space that you want to get in that we were talking about on the phone that
Oh,
has to do with, go
yeah.
ahead. You know what I mean?
Yes, I love sports. Sports is the happiest place for me is the sideline of a football field when you can hear the action, feel the action, the crunching, the sounds, the trash talking between players. Like I love all that. But I also there's some time where you want to just sort of slow down, and I think that mature women don't take pictures of themselves, and I think that um, I think it people used to do it in like the 40s and the 50s. It was very important to have nice family portraits and pictures of family
Yeah.
members. I don't think we do that anymore. And I think especially, women our age. And I think everybody should have I'm not talking boudoir, I'm not talking, glamour shots, but just a really nice, tasteful picture that it's empowering to have a picture that you're proud of. And I recently had to have headshots taken of myself, and being put in that position was very vulnerable and made me realize what the people that I'm taking pictures of are feeling.
Yeah. What they go
But
through, it's not super comfortable for a lot of people to have their photo taken.
right, right.
Yeah, and people become more self-conscious over life. It's not like you're 21 years old
Oh
anymore,
yeah,
and
yeah.
feeling it, but to realize that there's a lot of interest. It reminds me almost, Lynn and I love the movie Shrinking on
Yeah.
Apple, and there's just that talk about between scars or wrinkles. It's like not a negative,
Hmm.
it's actually evidence of a life
It
fully
is
lived, and
Hmm.
that really is
right,
something that a great photographer, I think, can bring out as they go through that process as well.
right. I agree. I think with lighting and posing, you can bring out a very flattering, beautiful side of you. And I would like to be able to make someone feel good about themselves when they see a picture of themselves.
And then it's there for future generations too, which
Right.
is kind of an indelible, great memory.
Yeah, I have no pictures of my mom or no pictures of my mom and I because it was always, oh, when I lose weight, I'll have pictures taken, or oh,
Oh.
it's like, don't wait for tomorrow. Your kids want to have pictures to remember you by forever.
Oh. And let's talk a little bit about you. You look so young, it's hard to even say grandma, but you have another role now
I
on top of
do.
everything else. And so,
Yeah.
how has that added to the stage in life for you?
It has been such a blessing because it's really hard when your kids grow up and move away and have their own life, and you just feel like you're just tagging along. And then they have kids, and all of a sudden you're needed again. And it's so rewarding. It's so fun because you get to play and do all the things with them, and then they go home and you have your me time again.
What's your favorite thing to do with your granddaughter?
We have we go on these little adventures. For Christmas one year we did 12 adventures every month, so she loves plays. She loves to go to tea at the fancy tea places in San Francisco.
Oh,
And we just have we've been taking the dogs for a walk. I see her like once a week, and so we've been out hiking with the dogs, and that's fun. And just she's just a little old soul in this body that she
oh,
says the funniest things and is very I just enjoy our time together. And we go to Giants games, and yeah, so she's
oh. And
been
then she
such a
was able
blessing.
to meet your dad, right? Because I feel like she had some really sweet things to say to you during some hard times there.
She really did. She did. And she was funny because she wasn't like other kids. My dad had to go stay in assisted living, and then he got moved to memory care. And he never remembered her, but he was always delighted to be in her presence.
Oh,
And she was great with him. He would ride his bike in this little path that was out front, and she would cheer him on. And we would
oh,
go into the assisted living, and she would talk to everybody and hug everybody, and they just were delighted with her as well. So
oh,
that was always such a fun thing, that she wasn't shy and she didn't want to, because they're, you know, older people, and you know, you don't know them, can be kind of scary for little kids, and it's not her.
oh. A little beacon of hope.
Yeah, really.
And then for the last area I want to talk to you about is how involved in volunteerism you've been. And this is kind of the same theme as the person we interviewed in the studio just a few minutes
Yeah.
ago. That's a huge part of your life. And I'd like you to just tell us a little bit about maybe even what you were doing yesterday.
Oh, yes. I do. I'm really passionate about volunteering and giving your time back to community, be it Blue Star Moms for veteran support. And then yesterday, I don't, I haven't had any sleep. I just spent the last almost 48 hours with 37 high school students for the Every 15 Minutes program, which is a program to promote to not drink and drive. Every 15 minutes, someone is killed in an accident that was alcohol related. And now that was back when the program started, and now it's 39 minutes, which is better, but still not great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I started when my son was a participant in 2009, and I did the photography for that, except he didn't want me to be at the crash scene part because he said, can you just be a mom for this part?
Mhm.
So that's that problem with being a photographer, is that you're always capturing everything they do. So I'm sure it's annoying for my kids.
And ours. Yeah.
They could probably relate to that. But yeah, so I then the following year I began chaperoning and still taking the pictures for it. And we take the kids to a retreat overnight. They're speakers, and they really open up to us, and they really grasp what we're trying to teach them. And then the next morning they have a like a memorial service, and that's very emotional, and it's emotional for the parents involved, for their parents. And then we get together for a lunch after, and then everybody goes home, and you're exhausted, but your heart is full and full of faith that what you've spent the last 6 months trying to teach this group of kids is going to stick, and they're going to spread the word to their friends and family.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing work to be part of. And even though every 39 minutes is way too much, that's,
Yeah,
more than twice the interval than
yeah,
what it was before. So
Yeah.
it's everything doesn't change on a dime. And I think as people learn
mm,
more and as you make it more visceral and more real in that
yeah,
experience, people will realize the consequences of a decision. And an Uber app is a very easy way to solve a
Hmm.
problem if you've made
definitely.
some other previously not so great choices, that still get you home safely.
Right,
For sure.
right.
How does your experience, all of your experience, sort of weave into you being passionate about this particular cause?
It's definitely passionate. I grew up in a law enforcement family and then doing the dispatching as a first responder, you
Yeah.
know, you get those calls and you have to send officers to make those notifications. And that's just a devastating thing that doesn't have to happen. You just had to make a different choice. And like that was one of the things that I was explaining last night. It's accidents happen. They can't be avoided, but sometimes if you aren't under the influence, I mean, even if you're not, when you're a minor, you're not supposed to have any alcohol in your system anyway.
Right.
But even just a little bit can impair your judgment to a certain degree. And alcohol makes you make bad choices. And so you probably wouldn't have done half the things you would do if you weren't drinking. So it's just about deciding ahead of time. I'm going to drink and I'm going to make a plan on how I'm going to get home now, not I'm sure I'll be fine, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, you're making a huge difference with that. And with your first responder role, you mentioned something yesterday that's kind of been echoing in my head, how you don't ever get to know what's the outcome. You don't ever know that. Could you tell me how you said it yesterday? Like,
Yeah, it's like reading a book and never getting to read the end of it. Like you get the call and you get the whole beginning part and you send help and help gets there and you never find out what happened at the end. Was there a happy ending? Was there a sad ending? I don't know. You never get to find out.
so if your volunteerism can even help, change one story, and hopefully it's a lot more
Definitely.
than one.
Yeah.
That's pretty impactful. And what is the organization called again, if people want to look at the website?
For every 15 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
every 15 minutes is the program. And a lot of high schools do it. Most do it every other year. And in certain communities, they trade off the years so that because it's sort of the element of surprise for the kids because they only do it for the seniors and juniors so that it is more of a surprise when it happens at the school that year.
And it sounds very realistic and very emotional, even though um, it's acting or demonstrating more than thankfully real life, but it sounds like it hits
Really,
pretty
it
hard.
really is. Yeah. I know when they came, they send an officer and a chaplain to every parent's house that's of the students that are participating and they do a notification. And I thought, well, I'm a 911 dispatcher. I mean, obviously, I know this isn't real. And so the
Yeah.
chaplain and the officer showed up at I feel like I'm storytelling, like I shouldn't storytell, but do you want me to stop or
I,
continue?
I want you to continue.
Okay. So they came to the door and I thought, do you want some coffee or water or anything? Because I'm thinking they're just going to come in for a minute because I know it's not real. And they never broke script. They came in and they're like, would you like to have a seat? We have something to tell you. Is there someone you could call? And we're very sorry to inform you, but your son's been involved in a traffic collision and he didn't make it. And it's almost like my brain didn't tell my body that it wasn't real. And
Mm,
you just start shaking and kind of crying and you're like, this is ridiculous. I know it's not real, but it's like you're you're just responding to the emotion of it. And then the thought that, wow, and then he's gone for the whole 24 hours. I can't call him. They take their phones, they take him somewhere where you don't know, and I won't
mm,
see him. It was as if he really did die, and I have no way of seeing him. I walk by his room that night and it's empty. And I'm a single mom. He goes to his dad every other weekend. So it's not like I'm not used to him not being there. It was just knowing that I couldn't call him. I couldn't see him. I couldn't. I had no idea what where he was. So that was really impactful. And then seeing them, then you go to their funeral and you're watching this memorial service and hearing a speaker who had a tragedy that involved alcohol. And then you finally get to see your child, and it's like the happiest day ever.
And how many years have you been involved with this every 15 minutes?
With the exception of 2021 because of COVID, every other year since 2009.
Well, that's a good run. And you're going to stay with
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. As long as they'll let me.
So we wrapped up our last podcast with a couple of the same questions that I'll ask you. Part of why we're doing this is to help people who get in that sort of stuck position after their kids head off to the next phase in life,
Yeah.
whether it's college, military, trade, whatever it is, where the parent feels a little bit like, well, now what do I do? Or
What do I
what's my
do? Yeah.
purpose or whatever. So if you could say something to a person who's kind of in that spot where they don't even think they have a purpose anymore to try to help them, what would you say?
It would be between two things: volunteering, because helping other people is so rewarding, and it will keep you busy and it'll open doors for you and it will show you things that you would have never seen before. I have a cat that's about to jump on the desk.
That's
And
fine.
but I think also there's always something that is repeated to you over and over that you do well, that you may not know you do well. Like someone should say, "Oh my God, you should be a writer," or "You should sell your cookies because these are amazing." Those things that are said to you over and over, there's a pattern to that. And that's just sort of something you should look into when someone tells, "Oh, you're really talented at that. You should do that for a living," or
Because I guess your
it's a,
friend kind of did that a little bit for you, right? Your coworker who would not stop saying apply, apply, apply.
yeah, this is what you're good at. You should go keep doing it. Yes,
That's great
definitely.
advice. Well, before we wrap up, do you have any other football chat you want to do?
So no, I'm definitely looking forward. I think it's an exciting new season coming for Cal with a new head coach coming on
Yeah,
board and a full new team and of course a Heisman Trophy winner who graduated from Cal. That's bringing
right.
our
I
attention.
still think of him
You
as
know, he
ours.
did it
He's
in
ours.
Indiana. Yeah,
So does
Yeah,
Joel.
he still called
he was
called
ours
himself
first.
out as a Golden Bear.
Yeah,
You know, he
he
just had
does.
1 year at Indiana, and boy, did he make
Such a sweet boy. I know he's a man, but just loved him. Always loved him. He was always polite, so nice to work with.
Yeah, call out to
Really like
Fernando
him.
Mendoza. Great Cal
Yeah,
Bear, great
yay,
Hoosier, great story. I can't wait to see the
definitely,
movie of what happens,
for
uh,
sure.
and hope we'll have a chance. Some of your footage will probably be part of that
Oh, wouldn't that
as
be
well
nice?
too.
For sure. Well, you have some great pictures of him, I know.
I do. Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, let's just mention your Instagram at, you want to just go ahead?
Paiva
So,
images. Paiva images.
okay. And we'll do a little link as well when we
Okay.
post this. And thank you so much for being willing to join
Thank
us on
you
our
for having
podcast.
me.
We
Thank
love that
you.
you listened to it and that you
I
commented. That
do.
was,
I think it's so important when everybody's kids leave home. You just sometimes don't know what to do with yourself.
and we love that you're our first, or my first fellow Mustang from my graduating class to join us. So we'll have to do a little tease on guess who was the first one to join,
That
and
would be
hopefully
great.
we'll see you on the sidelines and maybe at our
Yeah.
class reunion too. That's coming up
Yes.
in a few
That's
months.
That's
coming
right,
up.
November, isn't it?
It's no
Yeah.
numbers. We're not talking numbers. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll I'll send you a little message after and let you know as soon as this is going to be posted. But thank you, Nancy, and
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Thank you, Nancy.
And thank you
Bye.
for
Thank you.
listening to. Bye.